Hello, dear students. Today I'm going to explain introduction of the research article. So first of all, I would like you to answer the following questions. First of all, have you ever read academic or research article? The second one, do you find writing the introduction section of an academic article easy or difficult, and why? So what is the main purpose of the introduction section? And the fourth one, what kind of information do you always include in this section? You should answer these questions based on your background knowledge. So I think all of you have read academic or research articles as you are fourth year students. If it comes to me, I find writing the introduction section of an academic article difficult. It's not an easy job because it gives short information about the research. It should be very clear, accurate. It should be specific, where you should prove that your work is actual, that there is a gap in the field of your work, where you should show the novelty of your work, the main objectives of your work. That's why an introduction is not easy to write. And now about the main purpose of the introduction section. So the main purpose of the introduction of the research article is to inform the reader of the scope of your research, first of all, and then to show that the theme is topical, to describe the context of your work and briefly explain the background of your research. And what we will include in introduction: the objectives of the research, hypothesis, brief literature review, gaps in the existing research, etc. So now, in the next activity, you will watch the video. And while watching the video, you should pay attention to the structure of the introduction. The video will explain to you the steps of the introduction parts and what you will write in this part. And while watching the video, please be ready to answer the following questions. What are the main stages of an introduction? And what are the main stages of an article? Thank you. Now you have general information about introduction part. And in the next activity, you will fill in the gaps with the words in the box. So they are centrality, context, finding, niche, objectives, researchers, and value. So after you fill in the gaps, we will analyze each stage of the introduction one by one. So as you see from this text, there are 5 main stages in introduction part of the research article. Now let's analyze each stage of introduction, So stage 1, statements about the field of research to provide the reader with a setting or context for the problem to be investigated and to claim its centrality or importance. So in the first stage, you will write general information about your research topic, first of all, and then going to the actuality. Here you will claim that your topic is actual. And in the second stage, more specific statements about the aspects of the problem already studied by other researchers, laying a foundation of information already known. So we can call it literature review or degree of the studiedness of the topic. So here in stage 2, you will include the researchers who worked in the field of your topic and who laid a foundation for this topic. You will mention the researchers and their works, what they did in this field. In stage 3, statements that indicate the need for more investigation, creating a gap or research niche for the present study to fill. So after we state the researchers and their works in this field, then in the third stage, we will state the gap in the field. So the gap is called the niche of the research. So if there is no gap in this field, so then no need to carry this research. That's why stage 3 is very important in introduction part. So in stage 4, statements giving the objectives of the writer's study or outlining its main activity or findings. So in this stage, you will clearly write the objectives of your research. What are your objectives? And mention the findings. The findings will also be mentioned in the introduction part. And in stage 5, the statements that give a positive value or justification for carrying out the study. So we can also call it a concluding part of the introduction, where you will give justification and positive value for your statements, for your research. So now you understood what is introduction and what are its steps or stages. And you will work with the model introduction in the next activity. The paragraphs of introduction are given in jumbled order. You should put them in order. So the model introduction is about traditional lecturing and interactive lecturing. Now, after working with the model introduction, we will work with the title. We should find the title which is not suitable, first of all, for this introduction, and which is the original title. So there are 4 titles here, 4 choices. The first one, changing the course format leads to high student learning gains. The second one, teaching more by lecturing less. The impact of lecturing on student learning. And the last one is interactivity and an experiment in scientific teaching. And which of the titles are not appropriate, is not appropriate. So title C is inappropriate as it focuses on lecturing rather than on interactive teaching. Because the introduction is not only about lecturing, but about interactive teaching as well. That's why title C is not correct. Title B is the original title of the article. So why? First of all, it's attention grabbing. Teaching more by lecturing less. It's attention grabbing because it's short, first of all, and rhythmical, and it uses a rhetorical technique, antonyms in the same sentence, more and less. In the following activity, you will fill in the gaps with the linking words. What stage is it? First of all, you will fill in the gaps with the linking words also, despite, and in addition. And then you will decide which stage of introduction it is. Is it the first, the second, the third, or the fourth, or the fifth stage? So as we mentioned above, stage 3 of introduction part is indicating the gap. So in this stage, we should indicate the gap or the niche of the research. Now we'll read language support box and complete it with expressions from text 3. So these are useful phrases and expressions which are used in stage 3 in indicating the gap stage. So different adjectives, verbs, nouns, negative openings are used in stage 3. Adjectives such as nevertheless, the attempts to, remain at present controversial, incomplete, questionable, unsatisfactory are used. Verbs, however, previous research has failed to, ignored, misinterpreted, underestimated. And noun phrases, there is a gap in demand for. And there are such negative openings as however, little information, data, research, work, despite, also few investigations, researchers, so no studies, data, calculations, findings have shown, demonstrated, etc. So these are words and expressions that are used in stage 3 of the introduction part. Now, you know what are the main 5 stages of introduction part. Let's revise them. So stage 1. In stage 1, you will write statements about your topic, giving general information about your topic, and then you will claim the centrality or actuality of your topic. In stage 2, you will mention the researchers. So it will be about degree of studiedness of your work, researchers who worked in this field, and what they did in this field. And in stage 3, you will indicate the gap in this field, the niche of the research. Then in stage 4, you will write the objectives of the research and findings. And in stage 5, you will write statements which show the positive value and justifications for carrying out the research. Now, first you will write the first draft of the 3 stages of introduction part on the topic, peer evaluation as an important way of improving writing skills of adult learners. Then, after writing the first draft of 3 stages of the introduction part, we will have peer evaluation. You will evaluate your peers and give feedback to your partner. So, while evaluating, you should pay attention to the following points. First of all, you should pay attention if your partner has convinced you that the problem is topical. This is about the first stage. So actuality of the work should be claimed. The second one, whether your partner has referred to other researchers in the field. This is about the second stage. The researchers should be mentioned and the work they have done. So if your partner clearly indicated the gap or the niche of the research should be indicated. And whether your partner divided the text into paragraphs appropriately. So here you will pay attention to the structure of the paragraph. Developed the text logically. So whether the text was developed logically, you will pay attention to the coherence in writing. And whether your partner has used words and expressions from text 2 and the language support box. So above we mentioned about useful expressions and words used in indicating the gap part. And then the last one, and not the least, whether your partner has avoided grammar and spelling mistakes. So paying attention to these points, you will check your partner's verb. And then write your feedback at the end of the verb. So after doing this task, at home, you will write the first draft of the introduction, including all 5 stages. And the next lesson, we will check the first draft of your introduction. Now the lesson is over. Goodbye. Thank you for your attention.